Alright, so welcome back to the Arabian Open Masters, hosted by Adico and the Rising Empires community. So big shout outs to them for hosting all the events that they do. We've got 1Puppypaw here, spawning the bottom side of the map, Blue Trunks HRE, up against his twin, Wam, Green Trunks, Marley, on the top side of the map. So the winner of this goes straight through to the top 8. Loser of this sends through the losers bracket of the tournament. Both the players qualifying for a little bit of winnings already, but let's see how far they can get, hey? So the twins have become the pride and hope of Canada most of the time, other than Magic at the moment. So really quite dominant players, and funnily enough, the loser of these two will play Magic in the losers bracket. So we've got the All Canada matchup. The loser going to play another All Canada matchup. So 1Puppypaw going for fast spears on HRE. So he's looking to upset a Civ that's about as gold dependent, if not slightly more so than his own. We're trying to go for some quick spear harass, which Wham going all the way up to 6 houses there. So a lot of passive gold generation out of his pit mine. That's not going to get deducted from the eco building. I mean, from the eco pile. It's actually just going to generate a certain amount based on the gold. So we'll switch back to default mode really quickly. It's 83 gold a minute. So that's quite a hefty amount. Really, that's about 3 times as much as you're going to be getting from a macro hunting cabin on Rus as such. These houses have less houses than regular houses, but they also cost half the price, only take up half the population. So building them around these pit mines is good because it's what actually buffs the gold gather rate. This is good because 1Puppypaw's, well, good for 1Puppypaw because he's even trying to cycle through and pick them off, set them to burning about halfway through the health. Burning health and letting the rest just sort of deplete naturally, because there's not really a way that Wham can sort of interrupt this until he gets his own eco going. Man's Quarry also going to generate free gold or free stone. So Marley's all about that there passive generation. But playing on this macro oriented does leave you a bit exposed to just be continually harassed. 1Puppypaw going up to a 6th spearman now, but I don't know whether he's going to look at cutting him from there, because he might just look at using this wood to go for a no, oh no, here we go, he's going to go chapel, so he doesn't have to invest in a lumber camp. So 1Puppypaw going to clean up as many houses as possible, force Wham to actually build one at home outside of range of one of the pit mines. Just about to try and repair one through this. The spear getting pulled out just in time there. Doesn't want to drop villages. Like, losing buildings at this stage is fine because it's costing 1Puppypaw tech and eco potential by investing in the army, right? But at the same time, you don't want to lose villages in this position. So Wham gonna have to hurriedly try and get some army out. He's going to be able to take straight to archers. He'll be able to counter the spears. Bearing in mind, HRE access to man-at-arms, who become quite difficult to deal with in larger numbers against archers alone. And our HRE player can always look at adding stables once he gets his H2. feudal age here for Puppypaw. Wham! Been in feudal for a bit, so his range finishing up. He's going to start going for jab throwers first, actually. Because not only does it give him the attack potential against the spears, just by being ranged units. They don't actually counter the spears, but archers going to be weaker against other archers and aren't going to have the weapon range of the jab throwers. But all in all, I think that might have been successful there for Puppypaw, because he's really forced Wham to have to reinvest a lot of wood in rebuilding all this pit mine and houses all coming back up now. Jab thrower, fighting back, trying to chip away at the spears as best he can. Not going to get a lot done alone, but going to have a buddy to help him out. Did the first one get taken out, maybe? Or did Wham not have the gold for a second one straight away, maybe? Oh, but he doesn't want to lose a bit. Oh, he is going to lose a villager. No, he's not going to lose a villager, so Puppypaw to retreat. He's going to have his own archer production and switch to man-at-arms, so this is a good idea. This is going to be very hard for jab throwers to fight the man-at-arms. At the same time, he's going to want them to fight archers. Because, I mean, as he gets his own Musafati warriors to try and counter the man-at-arms, then the archers will be a threat to them. So Musafati are an interesting. I think they're a light unit that actually counters. Yeah, a light unit that actually counters heavy units. So they're good against knights and man-at-arms. Mostly designed to be a man-at-arms counter, so more than a knight's counter. Obviously, because they don't have to worry about knights charging into them, and knights don't have to worry about snare from them like they do spears. But the beauty is, against the man-at-arms siege, it really lets you fight an infantry and ranged infantry ball army just like they do. Man, Puppypaw is not relenting with harassing this gold mine. If you can get a villager or a house here, give him a lot of value his way. He's going to pick off one of them, Musafati. The rest are going to have to make their way back. Puppypaw knows the rest of the army's there. And he does have the range advantage too, because the jab throwers are split up, but they do outrange his archers, they do outdamage them. Bearing in mind, they are functionally useless against the melee in comparison to the archers. Well, now that Puppypaw's got man-at-arms out, at least, you know, he needs to try and get them on top of the range, but Wham needs to get his melee on top of enemy melee. If not, try and get some nice pick-offs like this. So Puppypaw down. It's actually down. I was going to say 2 villagers. Just down 1 villager. About to be down 2. There we go. Wham. Gonna have to be careful of a similar catch by Puppypaw here. He's able to get another villager. So he's up by 3 over Puppypaw at the moment, but that is probably subject to change here. It's been a nice split up there by Puppypaw, because the Musafati beeline the archers, or jab throwers are having to run from man-at-arms. A couple of villagers going down there, so Puppypaw evening things out in the vill count. He's now just down by that villager he slightly cut, I think. Unless Wham managed to snag another one. Yeah, I think he might have actually. Again, pretty frantic harassing our players. Very talented. Pushed out of Wham space for now. Bearing in mind that top side gold mine, the pit mine under a bit of threat, and the houses around it too. This one down here too, the villagers all forced to garrison by Puppypaw. So he's relentless with this pressure. Not got a lot of army out in the field in total, but neither's Wham with all this constant skirmishing. And I think it's starting to favour Puppypaw here. Just in terms of the fact that he's seemingly keeping Wham over his side of the map. Has got that faster castle age timing as well. Slightly more units out in the field, so he's picked off a good number of houses too. Like he's chomped through a little bit more value in terms of his kills here. Get another worker too. He's got a little bit less army out in the field in terms of their value though. Actually, I think that might be inflated with the cattle, maybe? Is there still a bug where the cattle shows up as army value and destroyed value in Malians? So maybe Puppypaw is further ahead than the score's letting me know. Actually, that might even be the case. Pit mine. Might get cleaned up here, but bearing in mind... Oh, I suppose it's some spears. As well as man-at-arms. So I was going to say, if it's just 4 man-at-arms, it might be very difficult for those jabs to engage. They're going to have to try and kite their way through this. The man-at-arms was low. Another spearman there, so it's 2 man-at-arms, 2 spears. Again, but ended up being worth it for Wham to try and push it, but... Picked off a sheep. A notorious threat there to his army. Let's be careful of those sheep. You never know. They might bite you or knock you over or something. Oh, and a 1 health villager. Gonna make the trip out to try and get the houses up, but gonna have to retreat. It's a Puppypaw. A little bit more beef to his army here. He's even got some horsemen in the mix. They're just forced to back up. So Wham. Now in Castle Age as well. Got Farimba Garrison. So this will let him make batches of units, 5 at a time, for only gold. Considering all the free gold gen that Malians gets, it's not such a bad idea. Going to be 20% cheaper as well, but he's going to try and grab a hold of some of these relics if he can. Puppypaw camping one out in the field there, good idea. Puppypaw back at home. Cathedral, and he's grabbed 2 relics himself, and Cathedral's going to double the value for relics controlled. The jab throwers making a trek. Have to see if they can deal a bit of damage, but meanwhile, there is horsemen out the other side of the map. They're going to catch this 1 health villager. It didn't take very long to pick him off. All the houses get slowly taken down. So he takes 1 down, but he actually backs off now because he wants to possibly try and catch the range ball here. There's only a really small number of infantry amongst this. On top of that, there is an imam trying to go for the relic. Wham's army is over on this side of the map, so people will probably be thinking he is attempting relic. Bit of an awkward angle. Come into fighting the jab throwers. Preemptive conversion here. But Puppypaw is careful to not just rally straight into it. Puppypaw slightly ahead in terms of the eco, slightly up on villages, and there's 3 relics pumping out the gold of 6. Players gonna try to take some sacreds. Monk being picked off there. Sorry, a prelate. I'm stuck in the middle of all this, but the horseman actually focusing down individual jab throwers first. Just get picked off there at the end. It's a rough fight for Wam, I think. Saying that, pushing in the Puppypaw at the other side of the map. Got a couple of villager kills for his trouble. Always quite nice, but emergency repairs. Because the tower's going to get topped up pretty quick. And he's hopefully going to have to back out there, otherwise he have to stick around and basically bring it down a second time. Does mean that there's no emergency repairs left up, and this one's outside of range of it anyway. But Puppypaw's going to deny Wam's pit mine up at the top side. A few houses going to go down with that as well, so Wam to replace structures and get it all set up around another gold mine spot. The outpost. Really surviving through all that. So Wam quite gotten the value he wants in return, but losing pit mine, I don't think. He's got a couple of villages out of it. He's taking a nice fight there, but people has cleaned up a lot of buildings and stopped a lot of passive gold generation. He's up on relics too, so pressure's on Wam at the moment, I think. He needs to try and deal a bit of damage to his HRE opponent, but Puppypaw, dangerous force patrolling back of Wam's base. He's pulled everything forward to try and go on the offensive, and forgotten about that army at this top side, assuming that people was probably going to try and crowd it back home and mass everything up, so we'll grabbing the central sacred. He's close to grabbing this one on the side, but he's slightly off center there. Run by, not accomplishing a huge amount, interrupting a bit of gathering, but still actually managing to get any fills out of it. It's forced Wam to bring everything back, while Puppypaw still denying the gold vein. He's taking all the sacred sites, already up on relics as well, so his passive gold gen will be pretty comparable to his Mali opponents. Should not be the way things should be. Mali should always probably be slightly ahead of everyone on passive gold gen, I guess. Wam, don't think it's an awful spot to be in, but he probably wants to try and force a favourable engagement before Puppypaw manages to get any more real raiding damage out. Probably wants to wall off this side if he can, because he's going to go for a third time on the pit mine. He really probably just needs to wall in this side. Force Wam to have to come through here to get to the back of the base. Puppypaw actually a slight army lead now, so it's going to be tough too because he's got a lot of cav in the mix. Jab throw is going to be good against the archers, but it's pretty much a melee comp here now from our HRE player. So Fatty Warrior is going to be great against man-at-arms, but it's mostly Lenchnet. They're actually a light and area damage infantry, and horsemen are going to be nice against the jab throwers. So it's a tough fight for Wam compositionally here. But Puppypaw definitely has the advantage there without some insane micro from Wam. be able to hold this off. He really needs to make some changes from here if he can. Like, I mean, Lanchnet probably need archers, if anything, and he might need to get some Donso out to deal with the horsemen. But then at the same time, he probably doesn't want too many Donso in favor of, with the Lanchnet there. So he can snipe all of them. Just trying to focus them down as best he can so Musafati can help out against the cab. But GG. Puppypaw takes the series because Wam's not going to be able to defend his resources after that push. Well played. Puppypaw takes the series, goes through the winner's bracket, and Wam has another chance in the loser's bracket against Magic.